Live. What is good, everybody? Early start time this week after our little break in the UFC. 4 a.m. start time for us Americans, at least East Coast, as far as I know. We are in Macau. We have two top 10 bantamweights going head to head. And it's, name value wise, not the craziest card to wake up to 4 a.m. for. But, we're hardcores, we're fans. Nonetheless, we'll be there. We may even have a live stream schedule. We'll get that officiated soon. Officially, what we're gonna do with that. But all in all, we're back to Macau and we got talent. So let's talk about it. Is there anything you guys want to talk about? Song and Figueiredo, or feel free.
Not really. There's some prospects. A lot of them are kind of randoms that we haven't seen from the Chinese regional scene, or if we have, it's been like the road to UFC sort of thing. But yeah, not a whole lot of name value, but I think some of the fights will deliver. I think some of the prelims will be fun. The main card's okay. Top three fights are tolerable. Yeah, I like Meng Ding Jose Enrique a lot. That's a great fight. I think Cody Haddon Richie Lang is another really good one. These are going to be striking matchups. Obviously, you'll have to wait for our real analysis here in a minute, but I like the way some of these prelims are looking. But name value wise, you know, unless you're from China, whereas I'm sure if you are, this is like your Super Bowl. But for everybody else, a lot of these guys are unknowns. But a lot of the best Chinese talent are on this card outside of Wei Li. If they added Wei Li, it really would be the Chinese Super Bowl. But with no Wei Li, that's not happening. But yeah, I'm ready to get into the card whenever you guys are.
Yeah, I am too.
All right, sounds good. And we'll kick it off in the strawweight division, where we have Thailand's Loma Lukian Bumi going up against Brazil's Jacqueline Amorim. To me, this is your prototypical classic striker versus grappler matchup. Jacqueline Amorim is a legit BJJ practitioner, 10-2 record. Her two losses are against Sam Hughes, if I'm not mistaken, and Mizuki Inoue. I actually had a play on Mizuki Inoue. Her last time out, she was a massive underdog, and I felt like inactivity that she would be able to have success in the fight and use her grappling awareness. Now she's going against a prototypical striker in Loma Lukian Bumi, which is crazy to say, but Loma's been in the UFC for like 10 fights now, and it doesn't feel like it. It's crazy. She came to the UFC like very early in her career, 7-3 in the UFC, with losses coming to Lupi Goldinez, Alexa Tayanara, the newcomer, and Angela Hill, who's also fighting on this card. I think this fight is pretty kind of easy to tell. It's either Amorim's getting takedowns and getting her submission attempts going, or Loma's winning on the feet. It's a close fight. I do think Amorim trains with far better people at American Top Team, and she could come up with a good game plan. But I'm going to go Loma Lukian Bumi. I think the gap on the feet is legit from a technical standpoint. Amorim's game, though, she's very tough. She's never been finished in her career. So I'm going to go Loma by decision, but I think she's going to stay busy. She's not going to be stationary to get taken down. She's going to use her footwork. She's going to be able to catch Amorim going forward, looking for those takedown attempts, and be able to stuff them, keep them moving, and landing the better shots on the feet. So I'm going to go to Loma Lukian Bumi decision. I just feel like between the two of them, the best win is Loma beating the Gilbert Burns lookalike, Denise Gomez. I think her beating her is better than anything Jacqueline Amorim has done. I do respect Amorim's skill set, but let's look at these wins real quick. Poliana Viana, Vanessa Demopoulos, Corey McKenna, Montserrat Conejo Ruiz. I do believe Jacqueline's a legit grappler, but come on now. I think Loma is a different tier from these girls. I'm going to go Loma Lukian Bumi decision win.
Yeah, I have to. Jacqueline Amorim, MMA math doesn't always work, especially when it comes to the women's divisions. But Amorim lost to Sam Hughes. Loma beat Sam Hughes. I think Loma's above losing to a Mizuki Inoue or Sam Hughes. I think she's, despite being more or less a Muay Thai striker in MMA, we've seen her kind of develop more into an MMA style, shoot takedowns of her own, have decent takedown defense. And I think the biggest thing for Loma when she has success against these girls, it's usually the girls that are less physical than her. And I think Amorim is less physical than her. She's no Lupi Godinez or anything like that. She's no big Alexis Thainara with a huge wrestling game. It's more of like this BJJ style that women have in the strawweight division. I don't see the wrestling being a threat as much as I see like maybe she can latch something up when she's on the ground. But Loma's not been submitted in the UFC. She's only lost by decision. I think I don't remember her getting subbed. She got subbed on the regionals before, but yeah, I'm gonna have to go Luma. Sorry, however you say that. Look, boon me, but yeah, I think she defends the takedown, keeps it on the feet. The bigger, more powerful girl has a little bit more of the crowd home advantage. Like the only Thai person in the UFC. If it gets close, you'd have to think they go that way in an Asian country like China. I'm gonna go Loma Lookboonmi, just being bigger, more dominant on the feet, and defending the takedowns.
Fair pick for both guys. It's women's MMA. Anything can go, but I'm gonna go with Jacqueline Amarim. I don't. Loma's just not very active for me. I know she had 2 fights last year, but like before that, she was like she barely fights. I don't really like her inactivity as much. And well, let me see. Yeah, she fights 2 fights like a year, I guess, but like I don't know. She don't really feel active to me as much. I don't know. And there's one loss. Tony, if you could scroll down. I know it was a long time ago, but women's MMA they don't really improve by then. She lost to some 5-6 bitch. This bitch is 5-6, and I women's MMA math don't really work as much. Sometimes the person that they beat, normally I don't know. It's just weird. Yeah, Loma I think has a win. You said that she has a win. Yeah, she has a win over Sam Hughes. But
Anthony Combs.
yeah, I get that, but like not all the time women's MMA is accurate to me. This is a fight that I think she's probably gonna lose again. She could win this. I'm not gonna sit here and act like that this is like, oh, this is a clear win for Jacqueline Amarim. No. Anybody can win. It's a women's MMA fight, but I think Amarim's just good. She's got the bigger reach. She has grappling. She's pretty decent. She's got the best gym in the world too. Like I think she's got the perfect tools to win here. Her losses aren't good. I get that, but like I don't know. Something's telling me that Jacqueline Amarim's gonna get it done here. She could sub Loma, but I'll go with a 29-28. It's just hard to pick finishes in women's MMA. It really is hard to pick. But I'm gonna stick with the Jacqueline Amarim decision 29-28. I could see like a random 29-28 to Loma's way too, because like Alex said, it's an Asian territory. But I think I'm gonna go with Jacqueline Amarim by decision.
Fair enough. As we move on to the men's featherweight division, it appears, yes, as we have UFC debutantes. Hopefully, I don't butcher this one. Kang Ji Zhu, 21-4 out of China. I think that is China. Maybe I'm confusing that with another flag. Going up against 21-1 Rodrigo Vera from Peru. So, interesting thing about this fight. A rumor speculating that I've noticed is Rodrigo Vera was listed as a contestant on The Ultimate Fighter this season, and they're going to air that like in June or something, I believe. So for him to be on this card, that tells us he cannot be a finalist on The Ultimate Fighter, because why else would he be here if he's not already scheduled in the final against somebody on The Ultimate Fighter? The Ultimate Fighter, they do the fights and they're all pre-recorded. They're not like live by week. They're all finished in one season in one setting, and they already know who did it, and they just upload the videos per week. That's how they do the seasons. So he can't be a finalist. So he probably lost on the card, but at the same time, if he lost, why would you want him in the UFC? That kind of defeats the purpose, so to speak. Even though there have been examples in the past of people not doing well in the Ultimate Fighter and then bouncing back and having a good career, he must have lost in a fashion that wasn't decisive enough where it told the UFC for sure, we're done with this guy. We don't want it. We've seen enough. So I think he probably lost a close decision. We'll see if they ever upload the episode, but I think Rodrigo Vera probably lost a close fight, and they still giving him a second opportunity here, going up against Kang Ji-ju, who admittedly I don't know too much about, but something I did see from his career out of his 21 wins, majority of his finishes are all within the first round. He really has no finishes in rounds 2 and 3. So if it's not a first round finish, the way he wins is decision. So I feel like round 1, he will come out hot and he will like probably have his best round, but I do believe he'll fade as the fight goes on. As for Rodrigo Vera, 21-1, his only pro loss is against a 19-3 South American fighter on the regional scene who doesn't seem bad. Where it's right here, Eduardo Torres. He was 9-0 at the time when they fought. Now currently 19-3. I think that's pretty decent. And he has the win over Juan Diaz, who recently got the upset win over Malcolm Wellmaker. From my understanding, Vera has grappling upside. He actually has pretty decent wrestling. And, South Americans traditionally are very durable. Him being Peruvian, he's never been finished in his career. He only has the one decision loss to a good fighter. I'm going to go Rodrigo Vera here. I feel like he's the more well-rounded guy. I feel like he can push a harder pace for 15 minutes than Kang Ji-ju. And I rate his loss and his win over Juan Diaz. I rate his one pro loss and his one big UFC win. I just feel like between the two of them, Vera's fought the more UFC caliber opponents. It's a stigma for Asian fighters, but the regional scene, it's not as strong as other countries. This is a you got to show me. And the public seems to be very much picking Kang Ji-ju, but I couldn't disagree anymore. I'm going to go Rodrigo Vera. And I don't mind a submission, but I'll go decision. And it could be risky, a decision in China against a Chinese fighter, but I just think Vera is the better guy. I think he's more durable. I think he's got the grappling upside. He's got the more UFC caliber competition, wins and losses. I'm going to go Vera by decision. But I can see a sub because Kang Ji-ju had his 4 pro losses. One of them's a sub. The other one's 3 losses, decisions. His one finish loss is a submission. But I'll go Rodrigo Vera by decision.
Yeah, there's like an echo in this call. There it goes.
There is. Yeah, that was
yeah, Rodrigo Vera is going to be my pick as well. Of course, the biggest thing about this fight is wondering why Rodrigo Vera is even here. Because like Tony said, he was supposed to be in the Ultimate Fighter. We don't have any confirmation on what happened. There's not any confirmation that he even fought. So maybe, they took him out of the Ultimate Fighter, just put him right into the UFC, and they're replacing him. Maybe he stuck his head into a guillotine, took no damage. Maybe he got robbed on the scorecards, and they liked what they saw. But something I realized about the Ultimate Fighter is they do stupid shit when it comes to that show all the time. I don't know if you guys remember Michael Gilmore from the Ortega Volkanovski season, but some like fucking guy on their team like tested positive for like fucking AIDS. So he had herpes, I think. And so they kicked the guy out of the show and they brought in Michael Gilmore. It was like a 4-0 fucking barbecue dad, and he just got fucking destroyed. First round, first fight he got like in under a minute in the Ultimate Fighter. But since they appreciated what he did in the favor, they signed him to the UFC, and he got like smoked by Andre Petrosky in the UFC and another guy. But I don't think Rodrigo Vera is bad. I don't think he got done like that, but you do have to wonder, why is he here? Did he lose in like a weird fashion and now he's here? Did the UFC just pluck him out and they're like, yeah, you're UFC ready, just get in there. We'll fill a spot of the Ultimate Fighter when we can. We need somebody to take this fight, and he took it. But regardless, maybe he lost, maybe he didn't. I'm not going to put too much stock into that now because I don't even know if he did fight. And I think a lot of people are just kind of pretending like, oh, he probably lost a close fight or stuck his head in a guillotine or something, but we don't know for sure. I don't want to go into this fight thinking like, oh, Rodrigo Vera is coming off of a loss. I don't want to think that. Kang Ji-ju is a powerful striker. He's a pretty big guy, he's wide, bigger than Rodrigo Vera is. Rodrigo Vera kind of reminds me a bit of a bantamweight. He's fought at bantamweight before. He has wins over bantamweights. Juan Diaz, although his fight with Wellmaker, I want to say, was it featherweight? He's a bantamweight as well, which is aging really well, just based on, he beat Wellmaker and he beat that guy. But let's be honest, that Wellmaker win isn't going to age well as time goes on, unless like ATT creates a new fighter. But Kang Ji-ju is powerful on the feet. I would go to say he actually has the advantage on this feet in this fight. Rodrigo Vera is no slouch on the feet as well, though. And the big thing that makes me pick Rodrigo Vera is how good of a wrestler he is. He's more of an MMA fighter than Kang Ji-ju is. Thing about some of these Chinese prospects is their striking and grappling just doesn't get tested in the highest level, especially their grappling. And looking at Kang Jingzhu, his last 3 fights in the road to UFC, they're all pretty much fucking split decisions. It ain't the same guy I was watching fucking murder people in the Chinese regionals. Whereas Rodrigo Vera has wins over former UFC fighters, clearly was good enough to be, selected for the Ultimate Fighter, although we don't know what happened there. I'm going to go Rodrigo Vera, using his wrestling. I'm going to say submission later in the rounds. I think just, if you can make it a split decision with like Shin Haraguchi, and who's like super undersized, and all these other guys, I have a feeling Rodrigo Vera can get the finish. And I think after the Ultimate Fighter, whether he lost or he got his opportunity taken for him, I think he's going to want to perform here. I'm going to say 3rd round TKO, ground and pound, or rear naked choke for Rodrigo Vera.
Yeah, I got Rodrigo Vera as well. I don't know. I think I saw some tape on the other guy. I wasn't really entirely impressed. Rodrigo Vera has got pretty good wins here, and like Alex and Tony alluded to, like there's got to be a reason why they added this dude into the UFC after just fighting in the Ultimate Fighter. So either he had a robbery decision or he probably did get finished, and that's happened before. They've added fighters before that have been finished in the Ultimate Fighter. Bryce Mitchell is a very big example of that. If you don't know, at the time Bryce Mitchell was like undefeated at the time. They just didn't put the loss on his record because the Ultimate Fighter is a amateur bout. But Bryce Mitchell got subbed in the Ultimate Fighter, and they brought him back because he brought in a big name because he was this redneck dude that was just doing redneck shit. Like, there was some shit in the Ultimate Fighter that he was doing that was hilarious. Bro didn't even sleep in the house. He like had a tent outside or some shit, sleeping in there and doing a whole bunch of hunting and stuff like that. Bro treated the Ultimate Fighter house as like a farm, but not to get off topic. They've done it before. They've added fighters before that were in the Ultimate Fighter. Either they lost or injuries have happened. Luis Pena, the felony man, was also involved. He got injured and was still in the UFC at one point. But like, there's tons of examples. But I got Rodrigo Vera. I think he will take some damage in the first round. Zhu is very dangerous when it comes into the first round, but I think he's gonna gas out, and Vera's just gonna use that output. I'm gonna go with a 2nd or 3rd round submission for Rodrigo Vera.
Clean sweep for the UFC debut of Rodrigo Vera. As we move on to the strawweight division, where we have another debutante making her UFC debut, Xingyan Ziyang, who is a former champion in ONE FC, going up against women's MMA pioneer Angela Hill. Interesting fight. Angela Hill, what can be said? She truly is a pioneer of the sport. I want to say she's been in the UFC since, 2017, nearly 10 years in the promotion. Out of her 16 pro wins, 14 of them were by decision. Her 2 losses by finish come from submission. Durability incarnate. Her last fight against Fatima Klein, I have absolutely no idea how Angela Hill did not get TKO'd. Like, this girl was tough as nails. Give her credit on that. But all in all, close fight. I think Xinjiang is 38. Angela Hill's 41. Angela Hill, like, her thing is her conditioning, good knees in the clinch, fairly well-rounded, just like a fighter who's been there, done that. Like, she's seen everything outside of fight for a title. I could be wrong, but I want to say she's never fought for a title in UFC. I'm almost positive. Yeah, like, pretty much. She's like fought everybody without like not breaking like the top 5, top 3 in a way. So that's kind of crazy. But yeah, in the UFC, to my knowledge, she's what was this? Oh, it was a fight of the night. I apologize. Yeah, she's never been in a title fight. I'm gonna go with Xinjiang Zhigan. I'm probably butchering that. Yeah, Xinjiang Ziyang. I'm gonna go with her here. I just feel like the grappling upside is in favor of her. The fight's in China. You already know how that goes. And let us all not forget, like, we know Bobby Green gets the shitty end of the stick in decisions and this and that. There might be no fighter in UFC history that gets the shittier end of the stick in a decision than Angela Hill. Like, let's be real. Like, there have been multiple fights where we feel like she could have won, didn't get it. And there have been multiple fights where it was close, but, that's how they go. I just feel like better record. This is a ONE FC champion, making her debut on the prelims. That shows you the standard of the UFC. She just seems like the more finished, capable fighter, so to speak. 10 TKOs. She's only been subbed the one time, but it was against Angela Lee, another Angela, funny enough. But Angela Lee's got good grappling. Yeah, I think the finishing upside is Xinjiang. I think being in China is huge. I'll go Xinjiang by decision or submission, but I'll go decision. I'm just going to trust Angela Hill's toughness. I really thought like Fatima Klein was going to get her out of there, but for her to be able to take that is insane. So I'll go Xinjiang the Panda by decision, where she just mixes up the martial arts, lands the bigger shots on the feet, gets the takedowns when she needs to, sub attempts when she needs to, does enough on the scorecards. Yeah.
Yeah, UFC experience is always a good thing, especially if you're going to be fighting I wouldn't call her a prospect, but somebody who's making her debut in the UFC. Because these names, I'm going to struggle. But Xinjiang Zhang, she was a champion, multiple division champion in ONE FC. And, on paper, that doesn't mean too much unless you fight the best of the best. And she did. She fought Angela Hill. I want to say they've had 2 or 3 fights, and she's gone undefeated against Angela Hill. She out-grappled Angela Hill in their last fight. I remember watching. She has a loss to Angela Hill, too. I take that back. But I like her grappling. I like her striking. She's much more of a striker than she is a grappler. But I feel like that'll stop Angela Hill from doing what she did to Loma. She's not going to be slightly losing on the feet, mixing the grappling, and be able to win. Xinjiang Zhang's got decent grappling herself. 38, obviously that's not a good age to come in as a prospect, but we got to remember, this was women's strawweight. Angela Hill is like 41. This is a division where unks can do better. It's like the heavyweight, all the women's divisions and heavyweight, you can do decent as in the UFC as an older man or woman. I think Xinjiang Zhang's kind of got a good style to kind of run away with this fight, honestly. Of course, I could see it being kind of like, if it's close, they're going to give it to her. And I agree with that statement for sure. But I have a feeling this fight honestly won't be close. I feel like Angela Hill, she's had close fights for too long. At what point does it catch up with you? And I feel like the fights where it really does catch up with her is Mackenzie Dern fight, where she's dropping her all over the cage, taking her down, getting top control. And I know we don't think Mackenzie Dern is anything crazy. She's not. I think Xinjiang Zhang is going to be way better on the feet than Angela Hill. She's going to have more power, whereas Angela Hill is going to kind of fight like Angela Hill, kind of tipping and tapping at range, and sometimes she'll throw a little bit of hooks and get dropped and get back up, and if she starts losing, she'll shoot a takedown. Xinjiang Zhang can do all of that. She's lost, she's won, she's had 5-rounders pretty much every fight of her last 10 fights in the ONE FC, outside of some of like the custom rules fights and shit like that she was doing. I think those were 3 rounds. But this is a champion. This is somebody who's fought 5 rounds. Obviously, coming down from ONE FC into UFC, you're going to have to get used to actually having a weight cut. So that's maybe something. Maybe she won't be as dominant as she was in the ONE FC, and maybe Angela Hill can make it a close fight and get a split decision. But if it gets there, split decision, Angela Hill's fucking losing. We all know that. So, yeah, I got to go Xinjiang Zhang by using her grappling and coming in as not just a prospect, despite it being her debut, but being kind of a whole thing, a whole MMA fighter going in. But also, Rodrigo Vera was supposed to fight at bantamweight. I forgot to mention that earlier. That Ultimate Fighter season, that's bantamweight, and so he's moving up a weight class. So, yeah, I thought I'd throw that information in there. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I got Can you scroll up to her fucking name so I can pronounce it right? No, not Angela Hill. No, I could easily pronounce her name. I got Xinjiang Zhang by decision, man. I agree with Tony's sentiment, man. I just think like it's gonna be one of those fights where Angel. I almost said Angel Reese. I almost said Angel Reese. My wrong black feminist. My bad. It's just sorry. I'm an asshole. I'm a dirty feminist. Not feminist. I identify as a feminist. Okay, I can insult these women. Angela Hill's gonna probably have a close competitive fight where it looks like she will win, but I just think Jing Jang Zhao or whatever her name is just gonna get the win because I don't know, you know, no coincidence at all, you know flags. Oh, just look at the flags, man. Look at the flags. Look at who eats what and what eats what. Something like that. God damn, I'm gonna cut this. I gotta cut this short. I got Jing Jang Zhang by split decision.
Death, taxes, and Angela Hill not getting a decision win. These are the sweeps that we are here for. As we move on to the bantamweight division, catchweight. This is a flyweight fight at 135 because of the short notice replacement. This is Ray Soria, 10-1, representing Japan, going up against 11-3 American Luis Garule. As you can see on the canceled bouts, this was originally going to be Jesus Aguilar, who actually had an arm injury and just got cut by the UFC. So UFC was not messing with Jesus. As we move on to this fight, Luis Garule fought Daniel Barres not too long ago, very short, within days ago. He got the win. I think we all picked Daniel Barres on that fight. Garule proved us wrong, but it wasn't by a margin where I would pick him here, if I could say that. Spoiler alert, I am going to go with Ray Soria. If you take a look at him on social media, he looks in different shape. This guy, it could be hyperbole. I could be exaggerating. I'm sorry. I don't think this guy physically is the same person that fought Joshua Van. I think in the short amount of time since the Joshua Van fight, I don't know how he's done it. Maybe I do know how he's done it. He's like physically a little like more developed. He's more built. He's more stout. I think coming off his first pro loss at the hands of the champion, which by the way, that was a Joshua Van clinic masterclass. He just stuffed all the takedowns. He hit Soria a lot. And for Soria to go the distance, that shows me some durability. And I've seen like lately Japanese fighters, like I've seen it in boxing with Inoue. I've seen it in PFL with Naoki Inoue when I had like a bet on him. Like these Japanese guys, like they may not be the best strikers and they may not move their head, but they are tough as nails and they got heart. And you saw it in the Tyra fight too. I'm going to go Ray Soria here. I just feel like coming off his first pro loss, he's going to want to make a statement. And I think he looks in phenomenal shape. Garule, his 3 pro losses all come in the UFC. One by TKO. I want to say it was Ode Osborne, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Ode Osborne caught him. Jesus Aguilar, we all picked as an underdog against him. And Alden Korea, we all picked as a favorite against him. The one thing I will say I'll give Garule is, I guess, like striking output. And I guess like from a grappling perspective, maybe he has like above average wrestling, but I just feel like in MMA standards, like Soria's grappling is not going to be anything that Garule has fought. Garule is like used to like Nick Pacini on the Contender Series, like that style and variety of grappling. Jesus Aguilar, like cardio grappling. No, Soria like comes from like that Tatsuro Taira like style of grappling. I feel like he's just going to look great here. I think Ray Soria is going to be the first guy to sub Luis Garule in his career. I could see also a TKO, but yeah, I'll go Ray Soria, second round sub, club and sub. I think he'll land a big shot on the feet and he's just going to kind of pounce on him off that and either get like an arm triangle or take the back and, classic rear naked choke. But even though Garule is kind of short and compact, doesn't really look like he has a neck, small arms, small limbs, I just feel like Soria is going to hurt him, concuss him, and choke him. So I'm going to go second round sub Ray Soria, where he does good on the feet and he finishes the job on the ground.
Yeah, Ray Soria, he's had a full camp compared to Luis Garule, pretty much just being in kind of like a 3-round war with Daniel Barres like a week ago or 2 weeks ago. On paper, that always is going to make me, kind of be like, all right, you're kind of coming in not best of terms. You might be redlining, you might be burnt out. He threw a lot of punches in that fight. It was a very high output fight with Daniel Barres coming in to face kind of the opposite style, a very big grappler, whereas Barres was like a small striker. I don't think he'll be ready, to be honest. I'm going to go Ray Soria. Garule does have a good wrestling base, takedown defense base, but I'm going to be honest. I think Ray Soria and Jesus Aguilar are on a totally different level of striking and grappling. So, and just size-wise. And I think if you're letting Aguilar kind of take you down and hold you and win the grappling exchanges against you, Ray Saruya is going to destroy you. It's going to, look like Tyra on his pretty much rise up. I think this is going to be an easy fight for Saruya. I think Gurul can show maybe good initial takedown defense, but I think his cardio is going to be off. Cutting weight 2 times pretty close back to back, kind of redlining, never stopping to pretty much relax or rest after your first fight, which was a pretty heavy output fight, like I said. I think Ray Saruya is going to be able to get the takedowns. He's going to be able to do it pretty easily and get a submission probably in the first round. I'm thinking rear naked choke or maybe like back mount TKO. But I think, the way like these Japanese guys grapple, it's a lot different than how Americans wrestle or how Dagestanis wrestle and stuff like that. They have a style of their own for sure. And I think, to be honest, we've been seeing it proven time and time again. American wrestling is kind of fucking shit, especially these guys who don't even come in with like great wrestling credentials. Like, oh, I wrestled in high school and I just boxed the entire time I'm in UFC. That's going to be a lot different than I think this dynamic Japanese wrestling style that Saruya has mixed with great jiu-jitsu. It's more of like a submission wrestling, like a catch wrestling style than it is like a elite collegiate American wrestling style. So I have to favor the Japanese grappling style. I feel like it's been doing really well for Tyra. And I think Saruya is kind of like a damn near a more physical Tyra. Maybe not as skilled, maybe not as good on the feet, but he's one big motherfucker and he's coming in great shape. I'm going to say Ray Saruya, first round rear naked choke.
Yeah, I think we're going to make this a clean sweep here, too. I got Ray Saruya. I just think he's... oh, my gosh. Wait, can you please get off there? That shit looks fucking gay on that screen. That is such a gay fucking photo, right? Jesus Christ. Sorry. I lost... But, yeah, I got Ray Saruya beating the shit out of Luis Gurul. I think Gray is just really good. His only loss is to the champ, Joshua Van. Joshua Van is just a superior Asian champ. I have no, what's so funny, Tony? Don't be racist.
No, it's true. Myanmar is 2-0 against Japan.
Hey. All Asians are equal, okay? You racist. Gosh. But yeah, I think it's just not a bad loss. Joshua Van is good. Ray Saruya has also got very good trainer. I think he does. I'm not trying to sound like a racist myself, but I hope he trains with Tyra, right?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm gonna check.
Okay. I need to make sure.
Yeah,
because I don't want to make the sentiment that all Asians train together.
I do not think they train together.
Yeah, but I don't want to make that. I don't want to make that.
Really, that's the same gym. Am I tweaking? I thought that was the same gym as Tyra. I dead asked it.
Oh,
on the countdown, I thought it was.
I thought he did train with him, unless Tyra was just training with him because they're Japanese and he trained.
Tapology doesn't have him going to the same gym.
I could have sworn though. Like, don't quote me, but like Black.
Yeah, they did. Okay.
Oh wait,
good.
that's Okinawa. Let me see where his is. Maybe it's a different one.
Okinawa versus another school, I think.
Yeah, so he's in Okinawa. Yeah. Okay. So it's like a subdivision.
But it's the same. It's like ATT Georgia and ATT Florida.
I got you.
Just with the Japanese. Okay. So, I'm just gonna go with that they trained together at some point. So he's definitely got some like training with some good some Japanese people. I think just Ray Saruya is not bad, man. I'm gonna go with Ray Saruya by. I'm deciding either a finish or a decision here because sometimes flyweights like to go to decision a lot. This should be a finish for Ray Saruya. I'm gonna go with the second round TKO, but I could see it going to a decision.
Just something to note going into the fight. I believe this is potentially and allegedly Luis Gurule's last fight on his contract. Just so maybe that could have been why he's taking this fight on short notice. And moving on to the next fight in the
place at bantamweight, not flyweight.
Yes.
That.
Wow. Because it's a short notice. It's on short.
That
notice.
As well. Yes. That for sure. As we move on to the bantamweight division, where we have Arichi Lang, 26-12, going up against Cody Haddon. If I'm not mistaken, is this his debut? No, yeah, he made his debut, in 2024 against Aguilera. All right, cool. Yeah. Cody Haddon, he was supposed to fight Malcolm Womaker, pulled out, and then we had the Ethan Ewan fight, and that's how that happened. Going off of Malcolm Womaker's last 2 performances, I don't think it's crazy to say that if you picked Cody Haddon, you're probably on the right side. I just think he's a well-rounded fighter. He's shown good boxing, good head movement, good output, can grapple. I think he's a very good prospect. His only one loss is against Steve Erceg. That's based on how you gauge it. But for what it's worth, I think Steve Erceg's a good fighter. I really do. I think he's a very good technical fighter. It's just he's not a crazy athlete. And it's just kind of shown in some matchups. Like, I think his boxing is good. I'm talking about Erceg. His boxing's good. His grappling's good. I think he's a good fighter. So for that to be Cody's only loss, I think that shows there's probably a technical fight. I do not believe Arichi Lang is on the technical boxing scale of an Erceg. That's also a lighter weight class, a lower frequency, like higher speed, output. I think Erceg's better than Arichi Lang. Arichi Lang, a lot of pro fights, only been knocked out like one time, if I'm not mistaken, out of like 30-plus pro fights. Yeah, he's only been knocked out one time. I do like that he trains at Fight Ready with Cejudo in them. That's not bad. 4-4 in the UFC. Had the no contest against Marcos because Marcos just kept on kicking him in the balls repeatedly. But his losses, it's Raul Rosas, it's Eamon Zahabi, Cody Durden, Jeff Molina. If you're above average, you beat Arichi Lang. That's my takeaway from all of that. If you are an above average fighter, you beat him. And I believe Cody Haddon is that and more. My only thing I'm torn on is does this go the distance or does Cody Haddon get a finish? He's been sub 3 times. He has a TKO loss. He's like tough, like in terms of his chin, but you can sub him. Let me see who subbed him. He got TKO'd by Eamon Zahabi. Bashra got TKO'd by him too. Rosas couldn't finish him on the ground, so I'm torn. Where do I go here? Cody Haddon, what do you got? TKOs or subs? He's got 5 TKOs, 2 subs. I'll go Cody Haddon. Second round TKO. I just think he's a superior boxer. He looked really good in the Argueta fight. Yeah, I just think he's the better fighter, more potential. Yeah, I'll go Cody Haddon, second round TKO. Pretty much.
Yeah, Cody Haddon and Arichi Lang. I definitely have to go Cody Haddon here as well. I just think he's the better prospect. We kind of know where Arichi Lang lies. And I feel like, Cody Haddon's one fight in the UFC. I wasn't really impressed. I was prepared to pick Wellmaker to beat him at the time. Now looking back, I think he probably would have beat Wellmaker. He's kind of like a chin down, get in your face and scrap it out sort of fighter. He's not super technical, although he does look usually more technical than his opponents. He's got a decent grappling game behind it, but his style is more like chin down and hooks. He's not like crazy, wild or anything like that. Like he has some technique to him, but his style is in your face. Whereas Arichi Lang's is more, let me sit behind the jab and find an opening for my 1-2 and do all that. I don't think Cody Haddon's going to let him do that. That being said, Cody Haddon, he gets hit as a result of his style. I do think Arichi Lang will be landing, jabs, calf kicks, straights to the body, straights to the chin, stuff like that. I don't think any of it will really hurt Cody Haddon. He's got a really good high guard. I don't see him like blasting a 1-2 down the pipe and fucking sleeping Cody Haddon or anything like that. I think Cody Haddon's tough. He's like one of these kind of like Chito Vera or like Petr Yan guys where like their high guard mitigates most of the damage that hits them. So even if you do hit him with something pretty good, it's probably going to still be partially blocked. I think the hands up close is what really gives Cody Haddon the advantage in this fight and the wrestling. I've seen Arichi Lang out grappled. He beat a can on the Contender Series, Billy Brand, who was also a Peyton Talbot victim, but he took his back really quickly and subbed him. Now, I'd like to see a similar back-taking ability in this fight against Arichi Lang, who we know doesn't really have anything in the ground. But I'm going to have to say Cody Haddon. I don't know if I want to say finish or not. I feel like he could TKO him or sub him, but I also feel like Arichi Lang can maybe be elusive and make it a decision. I think I'm going to go. They're both former flyweights, too. Lost to Steve Erceg. There's some speed there. I think Arichi Lang will probably have some speed himself. I think it'll be competitive until it's not. I think Cody Haddon's going to go out there and strike, lose some moments on the back foot, eventually start going forward, take it back for himself, hit a body shot or something, kind of start weakening Arichi Lang. Then he goes to the wrestling, gets the back, gets a submission. Late second round, early third round, submission for Cody Haddon. Started by combos on the feet, like a body shot where he finally weakens him and breaks him.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I got Cody Haddon here. I think Arichi Lang is mid. I think he's just not that good. He's just a fat flyweight. Let's just keep it a buck. I'm gonna go with second round TKO, mainly because I don't know, man. I'm gonna sound like the biggest Amin Zahabi hater, but if you're getting chinned by him, I just think you're shit. And I know that Arichi Lang ain't good either. Like, you should lose to Amin Zahabi, but getting slept by that motherfucker is horrible. I don't know. Ricky Tercios took him to a decision here, man. Like, I don't know. You getting finished by that dude? I don't know. I fucking hate Amin Zahabi. I hate him. There, I'll say it. Getting finished by him is a horrible look. Cody Haddon, I'll go second round TKO, maybe a sub here. I just think Arichi Lang is ass.
You're muted, Tony. You're muted.
Just caught myself last second. Appreciate you. As we move on to the welterweight division, where we have Meng Ding, 35-9, going up against Jose Enrique, 8-1, and I believe he's making his UFC debut. Is this right? Yes, he is. Interesting fight here. Both these guys are rangy for what it seems. Meng Ding's like 6'2", 75-inch reach. Jose Enrique is like 6'3", 79-inch reach. It's a weird fight for me because I think the more experienced guy is Meng Ding. I feel like, just have more fights. Like, he's had triple the amount of fight experience as Jose Enrique, but at the same time, quantity versus quality. A lot of Chinese fighters have a lot of fights under their belt, but, who is it against type shit, And Brazilian regional scene, relatively, for the most part, is like ahead of the Asian scene. I think a lot of people would agree with that. It's an interesting fight because Jose Enrique's one lone loss was on the Contender Series where he got starched by Kinoshita. And at the time, it was perceived as like not a bad loss because he was 5-1 and he was undefeated, and that was his first pro loss. But since that fight, Kinoshita is now 6-4. So he went from 5-1 there to 6-4 now. So he's not the best of fighters, and he caught him. But the X factor to this fight is that he hasn't fought in 2 years. And he went on a little win streak after that, probably against Cans for the most part, after that TKO loss. But that 2 years away, now he's coming back. What improvements could he have made? He still is very young. He's 24 years old. So, and I do like the gym that he trains at a lot. Nova and Yao, that's where Jose Aldo's from, Henna Barao, guys like Howie Fernandez. Good striking goes on in that gym. I'd like to admit. I think that. I'd like to think that. Outside of like Shoot Box and the fighting nerds in Brazil. It's an X factor pick, but I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with Jose Enrique, even though Meng Ding like triples him in experience and the age gap isn't crazy and they have like similar range. I just feel like the opportunity to be a better fighter is Jose Enrique, so I'll take the chance in a pick 'em fight. What would give me more confidence is if there was grappling from him, but from what it seems on his resume, he's pretty much just a striker. Getting knocked out by Kinoshita is a bad look. He hasn't fought in 2 years. It's a lot to gamble on, but I just feel like Meng Ding, you know what you're getting. Jose Enrique, I feel like there's still untapped potential, so I'll take a chance on it. I'm going to go with let's see what his record is. Meng Ding has 2 losses by KO, 4 by sub, 3 by decision. They're both probably going to strike. It's in China. He's 5-3 in decisions. Tough fight, but I'll go Jose Enrique by decision, where he mixes in a little bit of everything. Shows you clinch, shows you striking in the range. like with kicks and establishing the jab. I think when they get close, he'll clinch and throw knees to the body. And in this fight, more than any fight, he'll mix in grappling than he has in his career. So I'll go with a Jose Enrique decision win. Close fight.
Mike, do you want to do this one real quick? You want to go second?
You could go if you want. I'll wait till the.
I don't want to go third on this one. I have some
It's a tough
stuff
fight.
about. No, I know who I'm going to pick, but I want to watch some stuff on the other guy, and I want to cook something. I have a hot take coming.
Okay. Which fight is it?
Jose Enrique and Meng Ding. Let me get you there. Here we go. Here. These two.
Okay. Can I see the tail of the tape? I like to go by who's got reach and stuff.
For sure. Meng Ding is 31 with 6'2", 75-inch reach, 35-9. And Jose Enrique is 24, 6'3", with 79-inch reach.
Okay.
8-1.
I kind of want to go with. I'm sorry. I'm gonna sound like a fucking casual here, y'all. But I didn't really do much tape. Meng Ding, I kind of want to go with because it's a legendary name, but I don't know. I'm gonna go with the Brazilian here. I think. I don't know. Something's telling me that Jose Enrique is gonna knock out Meng Ding here, but we'll see what happens. I'm gonna go with the second round knockout for Jose Enrique. I'm sorry I didn't do much tape for this this card. I did some on the other fights, but this one I couldn't find too much tape on, so I'm gonna go with Jose Enrique here.
All right, this is actually going to be my fight of the night. I think this fight is going to be an absolute banger. Both of these guys, if you watch tape on them, they go for the finish. They get in each other's face, and it's going to be, on paper, a really good fight. We have seen Meng Ding on the Contender Series lose to a Lebanese guy, Rami Hamed, who kind of was just kind of tall and super long and just sat at range and just kept the range and just made it a really fucking boring shit fight. He didn't even get signed after winning. But, Meng Ding is here, so I think that clearly shows that the UFC believes in him somewhat. And if you look up Meng Ding's highlights, he's very technical, at least against the Chinese prospects. And I have to say, I am not high on the Chinese regional scenes. I just got to throw that out there now. I understand he's fighting cans. I understand that. And I'm not going to talk about his wrestling. I don't think his wrestling is really that offensive. It's more defensive wrestling, but he does have really good takedown defense. When he gets on top, he has probably the most vicious ground and pound I've seen in my life. I've never seen somebody put that much into ground and pound strikes ever. He's winding all the way up, and it's like he's trying to punch through the octagon. Absolutely just the most vicious ground and pound I might have ever seen. And that's really saying something. I feel like a lot of MMA fighters are trying to manage their cardio and just hit, the same way they hit on the feet and just don't do 100% oomph, just do 60% oomph. He's doing 120% oomph. He's putting his body weight into it. He's swinging as hard as he can. Truly some of the most vicious ground and pound I've seen in my life. For Jose Henrique, he kind of fights like a weight bully. That's kind of the vibe I got, just style alone. He wants to get in your face, use knees, throw hooks around the guard. But he's not a Ronnie Hamed weight bully striker. He's not going to sit on the back foot and fucking leg kick and jab and teep every, two times every minute. That isn't the way he's going to fight. But he is going to get in his face, and Meng Ding's going to get in his, and I think this is a very fun fight. Both of these guys got great clinch. Both of these guys have been able to finish people in the clinch before. I think boxing-wise, I do have to go Meng Ding slightly. I think Henrique is kind of just hooks and knees. He fights like a weight bully, he relies on his physicality for everything. And I don't see that much striking skill outside of that. And, Meng Ding and him honestly aren't that big of a difference in height and reach and all that shit anyway. I actually really like Meng Ding in this fight. I really liked what I saw from him. I know Chinese regional scene versus, Brazilian regional scene doesn't look the best. Brazilian's definitely bigger, but I think the weight bully factor of Jose Henrique isn't going to be as big in this fight. He's only 1 inch taller than him, and this guy's big thing about Jose Henrique is he's got the reach. He's got a 4-inch reach advantage, which, it's still big, but it isn't as bad as some of these guys he's facing. Like if you look at some of the fights he had on the regional, these guys are fucking fat featherweights. He's fucking 68-inch reaches probably. And then he faces a guy who's a welterweight, but a small welterweight like Yusako Kinoshita, who's a bum. He gets fucking slept. And I'm going to be honest, I think Meng Ding was better than Kinoshita back then. Like when he lost to Ronnie Hamid, I think he was better than Kinoshita at the time when Kinoshita beat Henrique, and I think he's even better than that now. Chinese regional scene, you're going to have a shit record every time you come to the UFC. You're going to come in with 9 losses, 10 losses, 11 losses. I'm not looking too much into that because that's just Chinese regionals. I think Jose Henrique's getting pushed too early. He's one of these 7-0 Brazilians that just gets pushed, and, he doesn't know his limits. He's not tactical like a lot of the Brazilian prospects should be and are kind of known for being. He's a bruiser that wants to get in your face. I'm going to go Meng Ding by TKO. I think no matter how this fight goes, somebody hits the floor within the first 2 rounds. I think Meng Ding will clip him. I think he's the cleaner striker. Henrique's the sloppier one. And once he gets somebody hurt, my fucking God. If he ever gets on top of Henrique in this fight, you'll see what I'm talking about with the ground and pound. Henrique is super vicious when he got people hurt on the fence as well, to give him credit. But I think the technique with the viciousness, I'm going to go Meng Ding, TKO, second round.
All right. As we move on to the middleweight division, where we have Luis Felipe Diaz making his UFC debut, going up against Yisak Lee, who is also making his UFC debut. 16-5, Luis Felipe Diaz. He was on the Contender Series, and he got a win by rear naked choke. He has lost before in his career. He's been TKO'd twice. He's lost 2 decisions. He's been subbed. He's the more experienced guy here. Yisak Lee, a little bit of an unknown, but I imagine that the level of competition he's faced is probably not as good as Luis Felipe Diaz. Like the best win that he has is against like a 8-4 and a 5-2. Yeah, but he is the younger guy. He has the better record. He has the potential to be the better fighter, I feel. But overall, I imagine the better, more well-rounded MMA fighter is Luis Felipe Diaz with the grappling. Yisak Lee, I imagine, is just going to want to keep it on the feet. But at the same time, though, you look at Luis Felipe Diaz's losses, like he's losing a 14-7, 20-7. Experienced guys. Maybe he could take advantage of the grappling gap. But feels like a close, low-level fight. If they grapple, Diaz, if they strike, Yisak Lee's got a chance. He's the more durable guy. Yisak Lee's one lone loss is by sub. So I would definitely see the popular pick being Luis Felipe Diaz to get a submission. But I feel like as long as they don't grapple, I kind of think Yisak Lee could be he's the more durable guy. And I feel like punch for punch, accuracy and power and just striking, I feel like I take a shot with him. So I'm going to go with the underdog here. Easier said than done. So long as he can avoid the grappling exchanges, I feel like he has the potential to be the better fighter, the more durable guy. I'll go Yisak Lee. He hasn't really been to a decision, so he's untested. And if the fight doesn't really go past like round 1, it's a hot take, but I'll go Yisak Lee by, let me see what rounds he's been knocked out. Got knocked out in round 3. He got knocked out in round 3. So he doesn't he fades as the fight goes on too. I'll go with the 3rd round TKO of Yisak Lee in a war where Luis Felipe Diaz is going to try to get his grappling going, but Yisak Lee is going to be on the back foot trying to stay sharp with the jab, with the kicks, and just land points. And it's ultimately going to lead to Luis Felipe Diaz kind of rushing in, trying to make something happen and getting countered for it. I'll go 3rd round TKO, Yisak Lee in a scrap in his UFC debut.
Yeah, this is a tough fight to call. 2 prospects coming in. That being said, I've watched a little tape on both. Yisak Lee's footage, it's all like grainy, footage that you feel like you found in like the bottom of like a dusty vault or like an abandoned house. I feel like watching what's his name, Felipe Diaz's, it looks a little bit more modern. Been on the Contender Series before, has decent striking, has decent grappling. He's obviously nowhere near the level of Pereira, but it seems like his striking style is trying to imitate Pereira, kind of like just marching forward with the high guard and throwing hooks, kind of like a discount like Wellington Turman type of style on the feet, like when he tried to imitate Pereira's style. And I feel like that's honestly not the worst thing to be trying to imitate, one of the goats of striking style. Obviously, nowhere near that level, but you can still imitate a style that's effective. Isak Lee, watching his highlights, there's just nothing really impressive. I would say he's like slightly more impressive than the Julian LeBlanc footage I saw. He definitely goes for it more. He's got more physical intangibles. But looking at the striking, it's sloppier than Luis Felipe Diaz's. He's got less power than Luis Felipe Diaz. The grappling kind of looks on par, I would say. I do think Luis Felipe Diaz is the bigger, more physical guy, and that obviously translates into grappling. He's got a grappling win in the Contender Series, which is a higher level than Isak Lee's ever been on. Watching the grainy footage of Isak Lee, he's pretty scrappy. He gets on top. He likes to like kind of pound you out into a submission. But I've mentioned it earlier on this card. I really don't trust the Asian regional scene unless you're like coming in like 12-0, 8-0. Then I might give it a look. But this guy's like 8-1. Against bums. He's definitely a prospect, but just, I don't know. I don't believe in the regional scene in the East very often. I feel like looking at him compared to like other Asian prospects we've seen on this card, like Meng Ding or Zhang Jingzhu, I don't think he's as impressive as them even. So I'm going to have to go Luis Felipe Diaz here. I think he's got the better striking, certainly more powerful, certainly stronger, certainly the bigger guy. And then in a fight where it kind of seems close on paper, I like all that. Plus the modern looking footage compared to fucking the fucking found footage you probably found in the back of a warehouse for Isak Lee.
Man, tough fight. I feel fucking unprofessional. I have not done tape on this fight either because I couldn't find any. I could not find any tape on some of these guys. The next fight coming up, the Alex Perez fight, I did tape on, and some of the other ones going forward, I did tape on those fights. But these ones were fucking difficult to find because I couldn't find fuck all. I'm gonna go with Yisak Lee. Fucking crazy name, by the way. But if it's true that he comes in moving like Pereira with the stance and all that, I could see him getting slept just because that Pereira defense it only works for Alex himself, just because the heavier weight classes are kind of ass at finding the shots. They're just like relying on the power shots mostly to knock somebody out and shit. So that's why Alex moves so successful on how he moves. If you do that at a lighter weight class, you're gonna get oh wait, it's 185. I'm retarded. But I don't know. I still stand on my point. I think that stance only works for Alex himself. So I'm gonna go with Isak Lee here if he does do that shit. Plus Asian country. I'm gonna go with the Asian fighter here. I'll go with a knockout here, second round knockout.
All right. As we move on to the flyweight division, and what my opinion is the toughest fight to call on this card. Alex Perez, 26-10, going up against Suma Derji, 19-7. Really high level fight. Alex Perez, I mean, like he's been in the UFC for a while, 8-6 in the UFC, but you look at the losses. I mean, it's Asu Alimbayev, Tatsuro Taira, Muhammad Makayev, Pantoja, Figueiredo, Joey B. Like, those are all of his losses in the UFC, literally. Like, champions, top 5 contenders, you name it. The thing with Alex Perez is just that it feels like he's never really had momentum, like, not even like in the aspect of winning, just like in being healthy for real. Like, he had the injury in the Tyra fight, and he's had to look at all these canceled bouts on his Tapology. It's insane. Like, he feels like he's never really been able to really be healthy in his career, so to speak. Coming off of a great upset win in the first round against Charles Johnson, he just bum rushed him. It was insane. That was the first flyweight fight of the year, and he looked really good in that fight. Going up against Suma Derji here, who lost to Charles Johnson. That was actually his last pro loss. Since then, reeled off a 3-fight win streak against the likes of Mitroposo, Kevin Borjas, Jesus Aguilar. It's a really competitive fight. I think Sumaderji, from a technical aspect, you can make the case as the better striker. He's the more durable guy, never been knocked out, 13 TKOs, 5'8", 72-inch reach at flyweight. Those are good intangibles. The fight being in China, if the fight goes the distance, it could be a situation of his efficiency, his strikes landed, being valued higher than the potential grappling exchanges of Alex Perez. And I mentioned grappling exchanges because that seems to be pretty much Maderji's biggest problem in his career. He's 19-7. 6 of his 7 losses are by submission. He's getting subbed against Tim Elliott. The Matt Schnell fight was crazy. The damage he took in that fight, he got clubbed and subbed. Armbarred by Luis Smolka, pretty much a striker for the most part. Yeah, he's been subbed in the regional scene. Like, grappling has always been his issue. That's why he trains at Team Alpha Male now, hoping to work with guys like Uriah Faber to boost that takedown defense and things like that. It's a tough fight. I wanted to go Sumaderji. I really did, because I like the momentum he's on. I thought he looked really good in the Aguilar fight. But in terms of competition, it's pretty much a stark difference. And I think even though Perez is older, and even though like he has more losses in the UFC, I just feel like he's just fought way higher competition. And I think the difference between the two of them in this fight is that Perez has the opportunity to be the more dominant fighter in terms of the grappling. I think the striking, even if Maderji's ahead, is competitive. But let's look at those losses too for Alex Perez real quick, because I originally wanted to go Sumaderji, but he was up 2-0 on Alimbayev, fumbled it into a guillotine. If he's up 2-0 on Maderji, barring like a knockout, like we don't see Maderji subbing Perez, so he can't do that, at least on paper. The injury in the Tyra fight, I don't think Maderji's grappling could induce an injury like that. People think he won the Makayev fight. It was that competitive. I'd have to rewatch it, but people think that he did enough. He got first round backpacked by Pantoja. Maderji's not doing that. Devison Figueiredo, first round, it was a sick guillotine. The way he got that, it was crazy. Maderji's not doing that. So, and then the Joey B ground and pound. Now, could Maderji catch him in the round 1 and follow up? Probably. He could do that. But even still, I just feel like the level of competition is night and day difference. I initially wanted to go Maderji decision, but I think I'm going to go Alex Perez by – let me see what he is in decisions. I'll go 3rd round submission Alex Perez. I think it's going to be a competitive fight. I really do. It'll be close on the scorecards. I could even see Maderji being ahead going into round 2. But where Alex fumbled in his last in a fight against Asu Alimbayev, his last fight was Johnson, I don't think he's going to fumble here. I feel like he's got more ways to win. There will be a size difference a bit. Maderji will be like 2 inches taller, and he'll have like, I think, damn near 6 inches of reach on him. But I feel like Perez can compete on the feet way more than Maderji can compete on the ground. And he's never been knocked out. At least I don't think. Let me see. Outside of the knee injury, right? I don't think Alex Perez ever knocked out. Oh, he has been knocked out before, but one time outside of that. Joey Benavidez. He got knocked out by him. Yeah, I'll go 3rd round sub Alex Perez in a high-paced fight. But I think the grappling is the difference of the fight and the competition.
This is a very tough fight. Alex Perez has arguably looked the best in his career recently, and you can say the same exact thing for Sumaderji. I think this is a very high-level matchup. You know, Alex Perez kind of has this narrative about him. He always misses weight. He's shit. He's not shit. That has been disproven. He does still miss weight. He has problems on the scale, but his striking's looked really good recently. But you know what? I'm going to say it. You want to know what's something that he has that's never looked good? His offensive wrestling. Despite him being a wrestler, he doesn't fucking shoot on anybody. And when he does, it's usually him getting submitted by a guillotine. I don't remember the last time I was like, oh, Alex Perez, great double leg takedown. Now to the arm triangle, to the back, to the ground and pound. You know, that was what he was doing to the bums right when he got to the UFC. But since, the Figueiredo fight, he hasn't done that. So I think on the feet, he actually has a better chance of getting it done than he does the ground. I think if you're going to pick Alex Perez, in my opinion, I would say Alex Perez by either decision or KO. I feel like he can maybe step in like under a jab and KO Sumidarji. That being said, I think Sumidarji's grappling has upgraded, 3x over the course of his career. I think the last fight against Aguilar, I was so split. I was like, I don't know. I kind of want to pick Aguilar. I know Mudarji has no grappling. I winded up picking Mudarji, and I figured, his takedown, strictly just defense. He's going to be able to stop enough takedowns, and he's going to win on damage on the feet. And little did I know, he was going to not only defend the takedowns, but reverse them and out-grapple Aguilar, which I didn't see coming in a million years. So that clearly shows improvement for me, for Sumudarji. Alex Perez, like I said, better hands. He's kind of gotten back to the low kicks as well. I think we're looking at majority of striking matchup. But if it does go to the grappling, if it was a couple years ago, I would say Alex Perez will probably do what he wants to him on the ground. But I think his offensive wrestling is overrated. And I think Sumidarji's takedown defense and anti-grappling is underrated, especially right now in his career. And I think on the feet, Alex Perez is going to come in. He needs to chop the low kick, step in, land a big overhand. Sumudarji just needs to keep the range, be technical, and be himself without getting clipped. I'm going to trust Sumudarji's striking more than Alex Perez's. I feel like it's more likely that Sumudarji gets a decision win, defending the takedowns and bouncing him from the outside of the ring, than Alex Perez with a grappling decision.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Sumudarji as well. I wanted to go with Alex Perez just because Alex Perez is really good at fighting those type of contenders. But I don't know, man. I think I'm gonna go with Sumudarji here. I think he can win, even if it is a close fight. I think he can win it just because it's in a certain territory similar to Sumudarji. So we'll have to see. But yeah, I got Sumudarji via decision.
I have to leave, so can we pause this real quick?
All right, and we are back. And let me get the Tapology so that way the audience can see what we're looking at. I hear like an echo in the background if that's one of the audios.
Hold up, it's hold up. Let me
share screen.
That's why I put the headphones on for now on.
You good?
Next fight is Harris and Jake Matthews.
Yes, it is. Here we go. All right. As we head to the welterweight division, where we have 22-8 Jake Matthews going up against 19-7 Carlston Harris, one of the only few Guyanese fighters in the UFC, hailing from Guyana. On the older side, 38 years old now. I want to say, 38, 6 foot, 76-inch reach. He's like got sub threat, and he's, I guess, semi-athletic. He's old, but he's like 76-inch reach. Not short. He's just kind of a wild fighter for me, Carlston Harris. Like he's like finish or bust, despite having 8 decision wins. So maybe I'm wrong in that term where he can only win by finish, but I feel like the way he fights is very caution to the wind. Like on the feet, he's going forward. His defense isn't exactly ideal. He kind of relies on his athleticism, his speed, and his range to get him out of situations. But I feel like his grappling is where he would consider his strong suit. He has 6 subs to 5 TKOs, never been subbed, has been knocked out 4 times. His losses in the UFC, Shavkat, Chaos Williams, Santiago Ponzinibbio, all getting finished in these losses. So that's like, these are above average strikers, I reckon. It was the shell of Santiago Ponzinibbio in 2025, so that's not a great look. But Chaos Williams does have power. Shavkat Rakhmonov, one of my favorite welterweights, he's a finisher. Not mad at that. He goes against Jake Matthews, who, I got to be honest, like knockout-wise, I don't really see as a threat. 22 wins, 5 TKO wins out of the 22. It's not that great. But I feel like he's the more technical boxer. He's been in the UFC for a long time. He's a former lightweight. His UFC losses aren't as bad, I suppose, like to an extent. The Magny performance was bad. Like he had a first-round sub, turned into a third-round sub loss. He went the distance with Morales, lost to Semmelsberger, though. It's not great. Fought Sean Brady. It's an interesting fight. I feel like Matthews is the younger guy. He fought in the lighter weight class. He should be the more well-rounded fighter. I feel like Harris is the better athlete. Harris is more finishing upside, whether it be knockout or submission. But I think Matthews is the more technical fighter overall in all phases of the game. I'm kind of tempted to pick Carlston, and as crazy as it sounds, I'm almost kind of talking myself into it because I do feel like he is way more dangerous than a Neil Magny. But his UFC wins, not that crazy. Impa Kasangane, I was like, all right. Jared Gooden, he just got smoked on Belgium and PFL like a week ago against some like a Tanga, and then Jeremiah Wells. That was a weird fight. He got an anaconda. It's a tough one. I think Harris is finish or bust in this one. Matthews, I feel like, is more well-rounded. This is a tougher fight than I expected it to be. But he's only been knocked out one time, Jake. He's been subbed 4 times. Neil Magny. He got anaconda. Kevin Lee ground and pounded him. Got guillotined by James Vick. Man, it's tough. You know what? Fuck it, I'm going to gamble. Neil Magny's a better fighter than Carlston Harris. He is, but I feel like Carlston Harris is a less technical, more dangerous Magny, if that makes any sense. Yeah, I just feel like there's more power from him. There's more danger in the grappling from him. Jake Matthews fights too technical for me. And yes, he looked good against like Chidi Njokuani, but like he has no grappling at all. Carlston Harris can grapple a little bit. There is a sub threat. And his only losses in the UFC, I reckon I would kind of pick them against Jake Matthews in hindsight. Maybe he could beat Chaos Williams, but I'd be scared to get knocked out in the process. I don't think Jake has beaten Shavkat, and the other one was who else did he lose to? Let me see. He lost to Santiago Ponzinibbio. I'd like to think Jake Matthews wins that, but enough of that. I'm gonna go Carlston Harris, and I'll go sub. I'm gonna go second round sub in a high paced fight where Jake Matthews looks like he's getting the better of him in the boxing, but somehow, some way, whether it be the clinch or whether it be a takedown, I feel like Carlston Harris is going to get this fight to the ground and he's going to get a second round arm triangle. So that's where I'm thinking this fight goes. Don't mind a Jake Matthews pick, but I'm going to take a chance on Carlston Harris. I just feel like he has way more finishing upside in hindsight.
Yeah, this is a tough fight. It's a tougher fight than it looks like on paper. If you look at it on paper, Jake Matthews is younger, he's faster, he's fought better competition over the course of his career. Outside of a few that Carlston Harris has fought, like Shavkat, that's obviously probably the best one or best fighter either of them have fought. But Jake Matthews has been around for a while, since his early 20s. Despite him being 31, he is a vet and unk in this game. You know, his real name should be Jake Johnson because he seems to be like a white relative of Michael Johnson sometimes. Like, you don't know what version of him is going to show up. You can have like a shitty version of Jake Matthews that just sits at range and gets picked apart and runs into right hands by Matthew Semmelsberger. Or you could have like the pressure boxing version of Jake Matthews where he gets in your face, he times good twos, he might get hit himself, but he's usually the better boxer. It's kind of what we saw against Fialho. That's like the rarest version, but that's probably the best version. And recently, I feel like after converting to Islam, Jake Matthews is like, yeah, I got to get my wrestling up. Like, I can't disappoint the rest of us. So that's kind of been like the newest version of Jake Matthews has been like this grappler version of him where he wants to shoot double legs and throw his head into guillotines and Darce chokes. And, you know, people forget, man, Carlston Harris has a nasty Darce choke. The thing that's doing a lot of heavy lifting for Jake Matthews is the loss for Carlston Harris against Ponzinibbio. Pretty much withered Ponzinibbio. I picked Carlston Harris on that fight. I feel like if a decent version of Jake Matthews shows up, he should get it done with the hands. But there's so many times I'm just so unimpressed by Jake Matthews, like the Prado fight and the Darius Flowers fight. It's like, man, like these guys are literal bottom of the barrel fucking bums. Like this should be a first round KO for you. But you know, he like gets the first round finishes over like Chidi Njokuani, who's like objectively better than like some of these bums he's taken into the second and the third round and taken to a decision. I feel like, you know, the version of Jake Matthews we've been getting recently is the grappler version, like I said. And if he tries to grapple with Carlston Harris, he's going to get submitted. If this is on the feet, Tony, you kind of helped talk me into it because now I'm thinking like Semmelsberger, bro. Like he should have beat Matthew
Yeah.
Semmelsberger.
I talked myself into it. I was really gonna go Jake Matthews, but the more I thought about it, like, dude, like he kind of is a dangerous Neil Magny in a way. Like frame, like he's just like less better fighter, less like conditioning, but he has 8 decision wins. So I actually thought he was just a finisher bus guy. Like he can push a pace, I guess. So.
And he seems to have problem with guys that are long, pause, and have power. Semmelsberger is not good, but he's got a long reach and he's got big power. Carlson Harris is the same thing. 76-inch reach, 33-inch reach advantage over Jake Matthews. I want to keep picking Jake Matthews just because I feel like his striking is.
I got Kaya Sakura. Cameron Smotherman. He's mid. I like Cameron Smotherman. I do more than most. Do I think he's good enough to win this fight? I don't know. I think I don't think he's there yet, man. I don't think he's there yet. If Kai loses, bro, ship him back in that Pringles can. I hate Kai Sakura. I will still never forgive that little I will never forgive Kai Sakura after that Tim Elliott fight. That shit pissed me off. It was during our Tapology battle or something, but I held such a grieve because of that pick. I hate Kai Sakura for that shit, but he's still entertaining as fuck. That's the thing. I'm gonna pick Kai Sakura. I am going to pick him. This is a weird thing because I don't know why I feel nervous about this fight. This should feel like an easy win for Kai, right? But I've seen his boxing defense. It looks so ass. I could see Cameron Smotherman catching him weirdly, but I just can't confidently pick it, if you know what I'm trying to say. Like I'm gonna go with the smart pick and go with Kaya Sakura. If Cameron Smotherman shins Kaya Sakura, and the thing is I'm sorry, Cameron, bro, but like you nearly died. You nearly died not too long ago, bro. You nearly died. Like that's the thing. That's you don't remember he nearly died in the scale to Ricky Tercios.
Oh, I do remember that. Oh shit.
Yeah. Like I can't confidently pick him after his first fight back is after he. I'm sorry. Damn. I think he watches the show. I think he watches the show. Man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man, but like that's your fight. This is your first fight back, man, and Kaya Sakura is not that bad. But I am still pissed off about the Tim Elliott performance. That was a stinker one. But yeah, I'm going to go with Kaya Sakura by decision. I don't think he will finish Cameron. I could be wrong, though. Charlamos, what's his fucking name? The dude in the...
Gregorio.
Yeah, Charlampos did chin him. That is horrible. But man, I'm going to go with Kai still. I am still going to go with Kai. But I am weirdly scared that Cameron's just going to look like fucking... He's going to look like fucking Gervonta Davis out there against fucking Kai. Because Kai's defense is ass. That's the thing with me. But I shouldn't be nervous about this fight. I think he should win. He should win. I'm sorry if I'm yapping so much about this fight. But man. He should lose. He should lose. He should lose. I'm not scared. He should lose, but if he does lose somehow, Kai Asakura, get back in that Pringles can. You're getting fucking chucked back into Japan and Ryzen where you belong. All right, I'm done.
Yeah, this fight's interesting because both have kind of had shit performances in the UFC. The Pantoja fight is forgivable for Kai Asakura. The Tim Elliott fight, however, is not. That shows that he pretty much has zero grappling, and if you're a grappler, you're probably going to be able to beat him no matter how shit you are on the feet, unless he KOs you first. But in this sort of fight, Cameron Smotherman, he's got like, I don't even know how I'd describe his boxing. He's like an MMA level boxer that like tries to box like a boxer, but he isn't anywhere near as good. And you're like using that style in MMA. Not a whole lot of kicks. He tries to be like very rangy and like jab heavy at range and footwork, but it's just all not up to par, I feel like, from what we've seen. Like that footwork looks nice, moving, keeping at range, popping the jab, all looks nice until fucking Charalampos Gregorios ducks your jab and KOs you. You know what I mean? Like, and that loss did a lot of. Oh, obviously, I'm picking against Cameron Smotherman just because of that loss. But looking through the rest of his losses outside of the UFC, Shane Torres, 8-11. He's fucking 8-11 with a win over fucking Cameron Smotherman. 8-11. He has a loss to CJ Jimenez, who's 5-6. KO'd in 13 seconds in the first round by a 5-6 guy. CJ Jimenez and Shane Torres. These guys are ass. Christian Strong, I want to say, is on the Ultimate Fighter this year, so I'll give him a pass there. But Charalampos Gregorio, Shane Torres, CJ Jimenez, those are like, I don't care how young you were, you don't lose to those fucking guys. They're 8-11. You're in the UFC now. John Giannis, he has a win over him, who's in the UFC now by split decision, who kind of just got thrown in here as a victim and then happened to win a fight after that against a guy who literally came off battling a life-threatening illness, and Jamie Siraj. Like all these wins that he has are against low-level competition, and honestly, his losses are all against low-level comp too. Highest level comp he's lost to is Ricky Simone in Seri City. Ricky Simone got fucking brutalized by Adrian Yanez. Like, I know Smotherman trains with Yanez, but he's far from the level of Yanez. And, I like Yanez, but let's not pretend like he hasn't struggled at this part of the bantamweight division as well. Smotherman's a lot worse than that. Kaya Sakura, he's sloppy, but he goes for it. And I feel like style-wise, a guy that just wants to back up and jab, fighting a guy who's going to come forward and run at you in the first round with a history of Cameron Smotherman's of getting KO'd in 13 seconds. And Charalampos Gregorio was 1 minute. He's a guy that gets KO'd very fast if you press him up. Kaya Sakura does that. He kicks, he knees. I think he's just going to blitz him, start throwing 1-2s, starts blitzing him, knee to the body, hunches him over, TKOs him across the fence with knees and punches. Kaya Sakura is just going to go crazy in the first round, and that has historically worked against Smotherman very often. So I'm going to go Kaya Sakura, and they want him around, man. Kaya Sakura's got fans. I know, like, in the United States, he's like, he's kind of a bum, all things considered, despite him having a rising career. But he's big in Japan, and they want that. So it's definitely a good move for the UFC to give him this fight in Asia. I think they know what they're doing. Kaya Sakura, brutal first-round KO. Under 2 minutes. I'll say that.
As we head to the bantamweight division here, I think this is kind of just tailor-made for Kaya Sakura, to be blunt. He's 0-2 in the UFC. It's against Tim Elliott and against Pantoja, grapplers. His grappling got exposed at a UFC level against one of the best flyweights ever in Pantoja, and Tim Elliott, he's fought, like, he's a prototypical standard of the flyweight division. Like, he was an Ultimate Fighter winner. He's a very good fighter in his own right. Still not a great look that you lost to someone who hasn't fought in 600 days, but nonetheless, like, established fighter. Cameron Smotherman, you really can't say the same. I think Mike and Alex brought up all the good points. I like his boxing for what it's worth. It's like, okay, but that's kind of all he is, and you really can't be a one-trick pony in today's game of MMA. His grappling isn't really crazy. I think he has one sub to his name. Asakura's grappling has been exposed at a UFC level, but let's keep in mind it's Pantoja and it's Tim Elliott. Those are good grapplers. Smotherman isn't even in, like, the same breath of these guys, obviously. Like Alex said, Cameron's style of boxing isn't really that aggressive, which is going to give a guy like Asakura, who is aggressive and not just a boxer. He's got kicks, he's got knees, he's dynamic. I think this is tailor-made for him. 2 tough matchups in his first 2 fights. This is supposed to be the one that gets you in the win column. This is going to be his first UFC debut. The Charalampos Gregorio TKO loss is a bad look either way you cut it. I know the narrative of Asakura's grappling being exposed is bad. I could see him getting a sub here. That's how much of a difference in grappling I think the two of these guys have. But I'm going to go TKO. I'll go Kaya Asakura first round TKO and a bounce back in Macau. He needs it really, really badly.
All right, moving on to our next fight of the card. Sergey Pavlovich versus Taliesin Teixeira in the heavyweight division. And even Taliesin Teixeira's homies are against him. Walter Walker's been on like a media campaign that's just, brother, you're going to fucking die, brother. You're not winning against Sergey. Like, I guess he's friends with both of them. But boy, oh boy, did he pick a side. And I don't know if that's just like him memeing around or if he's like dead ass, like, yeah, Sergey is going to fucking actually kill you. And like, if he's really seen that level in the gym. Part of me thinks it's a little bit of both. Probably just him memeing Taliesin, but it's also probably one of those like truthful jokes. Like there's some truth behind it because MMA math doesn't always work, especially in the shitty divisions. But you know, you lose to Derek Lewis, you beat Tai Tuivasa. Both Derek Lewis and Tai Tuivasa got done by Sergey in like under a minute. If Sergey shows, and I know Sergey's changed his style, he's a little bit more patient now. He should still be able to KO Taliesin Teixeira in the first round, even fighting the way he's been. In theory, I think he's able to just be the better boxer and time something over it. I think even if this is kind of a boring single digit type of fight, which I really hope it's not, I think Sergey knows how winnable this is. You know, and for Taliesin, like, I don't care how iron-willed you are, like, your homies, like, just being like, oh, dude, you're fucked. You are so fucked, dude. Like, that's got to hurt your confidence. Even if, like, you think you can win, like, if everybody close to you is just like, bro, you're going to fucking die, that cannot be good for your confidence. And, like, it just seems like Taliesin, you know, fraud. You know, he beats Justin Tafa, gets immediately thrown into the rankings. Just not somebody who should really be ranked despite his size, despite his athletic ability and his reach. You expected him to be really good, but he's clearly not. You know, Tai Tuivasa fucking won the third round against him. He's ass. You know, like he lost to Derek Lewis for a very good reason, like because he sucks. And Sergey's, I think, just as powerful as, you know, Sergey's more just as powerful as Derek Lewis for like a Tai Tuivasa, except he's athletic. He's going to be there. He's not going to gas out like a fat retard. He's not just contingent to getting a first round in the KO if it does go a little bit longer. But I do think he will. Even if he fights slower, I think he's just the way better boxer. If Taliesin gets aggressive, he's going to counter him. And if he ever sees red and old Sergey comes back, he's dead in a minute. So I'm going to go Sergey first round KO. No matter what type of Sergey shows up, I still think he gets it done in the first by KO.
Yep. I agree with Alex. I'm gonna go with Sergey here. I think he is just gonna. I don't know, man. Taliesin Teixeira is just dog shit. You telling me you can't finish Tai Tuivasa's fat ass? Like, Tony even said it. Like, he didn't even know that Taliesin shot takedowns in this fight. He just thought it was Tuivasa just fatting around, can't get up. Like, it is a fair game that he wouldn't even expect it because Taliesin's was in the regional when he was undefeated. He was in the coming up, like we all thought he was just this knockout threat, but just turns out he's just in mid and he's tall as shit for nothing. I'm gonna go with Pavlovich here by first or second round KO. I think Taliesin Teixeira's an ass. His defense is ass. He nearly lost to Tai Tuivasa. That is looking horrible after what Louis Sutherland just did, I think, in his last fight. Like, I'm going with Sergey Pavlovich here. First round. I'll go first round KO.
Feature fight of the night in Macau. Sergey Pavlovich, this isn't close in terms of strength of schedule. This guy has been in there with Aspinall, Curtis Blades, Volkov, Waldo Cortez Acosta, and he's got an above 500 record against these guys. He's only losing to like Overeem and he's losing to like Aspinall and Volkov, who are all better strikers overall, I'd imagine, than Taliesin Teixeira. Taliesin is dangerous. He's 6'7". He has long arms. The only advantage I could really give Taliesin is he's younger, and I think he's got better knees and kicks. That's it. Outside of that, I feel like Pavlovich is the better boxer. He hits harder. He's fought better competition. And grappling upside, it actually, I guess I'd lean Pavlovich in the wrestling, but in the clinch, maybe Teixeira can be like devastating with knees and elbows. So I clinch, kicks. Yeah, clinch and kicks and height and youth I'd give to Teixeira. Outside of that, Pavlovich is the better fighter. Teixeira needs to like kind of be perfect, so to speak. He needs to kind of stay at a perfect range where he could get his head kicks and low kicks going. But I don't know how he's going to be able to do that against someone with the reach, the power, and the pressure that Sergey can provide. And I feel like Sergey can win with takedowns, boxing, decision, knockout. I feel like you can do all of these things. Teixeira can catch him. It is heavyweight. Flukes could definitely happen. These guys are massive human beings. Sometimes it only may take one. He did get knocked out by Derek Lewis. Pavlovich, I guess, to some degree, has taken more damage to an extent. Like he got beat up in the Overeem fight. He got knocked out in the Aspinall fight, and he took took damage in the Volkov fight. In this fight, Teixeira is powerful, but he needs a fluke, so to speak. So I guess I'll go Sergey Pavlovich by. I'll go second round because I think like Talison's not going to be like how he used to fight. I feel like he's going to be very measured, very defensive, very like trying to avoid exchanges with the hands as much as possible, try to extend the fight and use his range. So I'm going to go second round TKO Pavlovich. But I will say it could be a bit of a more tactical fight than people make it out to be. I don't know if we're going to get the old Pavlovich that just bum rushes people and knocks them out in under 2 minutes. He seems, ever since the Aspinall fight, to be more technical. We saw that in the Volkov fight, who has a similar frame to a Teixeira, and we saw that in the Waldo Cortez Acosta fight. From a betting standpoint, I don't really know how you can lay it with Pablo unless it's a knockout. I think it's like minus 200. But yeah, I'm going to go Pavlovich second round TKO. Levels fight. He's just fought way better people. Point blank period. He just has.
Now to our co-main event of the evening, Min Yang Zhang and Alonzo Menafield. Mike, take it away.
Hold on. Let me hit this. Oh, my phone died. I was gonna hit the Chinese gong. You know what I'm talking about from Mortal Kombat. Boom. Yeah, I think Min Yang Zhang's gonna hit Alonzo Menafield with the "You stay out my store. I remember your face. I remember your face. You stay out my store." He's gonna start chasing Alonzo Menafield with a broom. Just start hitting him with it. It's gonna be one of those cartoon parodies. You stay out my store. You stay out my store. No, all seriousness though. I think Min Yang Zhang is gonna maul Alonzo Menafield. Although he could get caught. He did lose to Johnny fucking Walker. That was horrible. But I would like to say Johnny Walker is a lot better than Alonzo Menafield. Alonzo Menafield is trash. I don't rate Alonzo's wins besides Dustin Jacoby. I think that's his best win so far. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Ming Yang. I mean, Ming Yang don't have any good wins either. His best win is retiring Anthony Smith into a ball for one last time. But yeah, I got Min Yang Zhang round 2 via Family Guy. Stay out my store.
Alonzo Menafield might be one of the worst fighters in the division. His hands suck. His wrestling sucks. He can get by like barely against like super fraudulent opponents. I think he's dead in the first round against Min Yang Zhang. I hear Tony to a little bit of the degree of we don't know how it looks going later. But this is a 3-round fight. I'm not worried about like Min Yang Zhang really gassing out too bad. I don't think Alonzo's really got the striking, the pressure, the wrestling to kind of make him gas out. It's kind of just tailor-made for Min Yang Zhang. Like, looking back on it, like, William Knight is a fucking terrible loss. And I understand the Askar Mazarov fight. That's not a good look. But, that happened in 2018. It was a little bit ago. At this point, 8 years. I can kind of forgive that. I don't care what time it is. If you're making a close fight on the feet with William Knight, man, like we know where your striking's at, and every time we see Menafield, we kind of see that. getting fucking murdered by Mirzakhanov isn't aging super good as well. But he's a ranked light heavyweight at least. But Menifield, man, like split decision to Julius Walker, that has not aged well at all. Umar C fucking sucks. So I guess props for beating Umar C, but I just don't see Umar C as a person that can hurt somebody. I've never seen him hurt anybody on the feet. He just like strikes and grapples, and the striking sucks. The grappling sucks too, just like Menifield, and that's why Menifield got him based on like experience, and I feel like having the better gas tank. And it's a valid concern for Zhang Minyang. Will he gas out? I don't think we get to that point. Zhang Minyang's got great boxing. He switched on early. I don't see Menifield hurting him on the feet. The only way Zhang Minyang loses is if he like gasses out, and I don't even think then Menifield would finish him. He'd have to like get the last 2 rounds at a decision, and I don't even see that happening in China. Even if he should win, he won't unless he finishes him. This is a perfect matchup for Zhang Minyang. The type of combos Azamat's going to was hitting him with, Zhang Minyang's also going to hit him with. And compared to Azamat Mirzakhanov, Zhang Minyang is a fucking big dude. He's made out of mahogany, but or bamboo, either one. But he's one powerful motherfucker, and he's going to destroy Alonzo Menifield in 1 round. I'm so over Alonzo Menifield. Get him out of the rankings. Get him out of the sport.
Feature fight of the evening in the light heavyweight bout. Tough fight here. Minyang Zhang coming off of his first pro loss in the UFC against Johnny Walker. Did not look good in that, but they're trying to give him a bounce back in this one against Alonzo Menifield, who admittedly, he doesn't look like it, but he's fought a lot of the upper echelon of the light heavyweight division. He's losing to guys like Carlos Olberg, Azamat Mirzakhanov, strikers for the most part. I feel like he has more experience as the fight progresses. This is very much a minutes versus moments type fight. I do feel that Minyang Zhang is a bit of a killer be kill fighter. Like, he has 1 decision loss in his career. A majority of all of his finishes are in round 1 and 2. Never has a round 3 finish. I feel like he fades as the fight goes on, whereas Menifield kind of gets better as the fight goes on. It's a really tough fight. It kind of does really feel like if it's Minyang Zhang early or it's Alonzo Menifield late. But reluctantly, I'm going to go with Minyang Zhang. I'm expecting him to be way more dynamic. 38 versus 27, significant youth advantage in his favor. Both have been knocked out 4 times in their career, but the guy who's improving better, the guy who's got more upside, giving him a second chance in his home country. I'm going to go with Minyang Zhang by a first-round knockout. I just feel like if he doesn't get it, he's going to lose. So I feel like he's going to fight like he needs to get it. So I'm going to go first-round knockout Minyang Zhang, where he's just pouring it on early and it's going to be too much and the ref steps in. First-round TKO Minyang Zhang.
Defends the corner store today in Macau. There you go. There's the gong.
I was trying to find it. I think we're ready to move on.
Yeah,
wait, hold up. Let me hit the gong one last time since it's the main event. All right, there you go.
The final gong.
All right. Let me see. As we head to the main events of the evening, let me refresh the page. Song Yadong, 22-9, is it? Yes, 22-9-1, going up against former flyweight champion, 25-6-1, Devison Deuce de Yeha Figueiredo. Kumbu Kid versus God of War. If this was Figgy, years ago, a lot of people would take a shot on him, and I know even some people that are, but he is getting older. The bantamweight division, it's hard to be old and competitive in it. Hani Barcelos is defying logic the way he's doing it. It's crazy. But for Figgy, I mean, in his defense, like, he's only losing to like Sandhagen via injury, Umar, and Piotr Jan. So outside of that, he's pretty much won every other bantamweight fight he's fought. I just feel like there's an age gap here. There's an explosiveness. Yes, Figgy has fought higher level competition, and he still somewhat does have it. But I don't know. I just feel like Song Yadong, he looked good in the O'Malley fight. Lost the 3rd round clearly, but I thought he looked decent in the first 2 rounds. If O'Malley fought Figgy and Figgy didn't grapple, I feel like he could get knocked out. Similar to Figgy, like, the only people like he's really losing to is O'Malley, Jan, Corey. the Kyler Phillips fight was close, but he lost that fight. Nonetheless, these are ranked bantamweights in the UFC he's losing to. All of his UFC losses are somewhat comparable. You could say the same thing for Figgy. All of his UFC losses are also good. I just feel like in China, Song Yadong, they're giving you an older guy. Never really seen Song really get out grappled decisively. So, yeah. I'm going to go Song Yadong. I'm torn between a finish or a decision because I do think Figgy is tough. He's only been stopped by injuries, really, outside of the submission, but we don't see Song Yadong subbing Figgy. At least I don't. I think it would either be a knockout or a decision. He went the distance with Jan. Jan's got good conditioning for a 5-round fight. I don't know, though. I just feel like in the Montel Jackson fight, like, this is going to be the polar opposite of that. I feel like Song Yadong is going to be in Figgy's face from start to finish. He's not going to give him a minute to breathe. That's how I'm thinking this goes. So I guess I will go Song Yadong to be the first guy to really TKO Devison Figueiredo. And it's a shame because Figgy's one of my favorite fighters ever, really. Definitely my favorite flyweight ever. But I am going to go Song Yadong by Moreno. Got it in what round? He got it in the, let me see. This is Song's record. Let me see Figgy's. I think it was the 4th round he got a TKO on Moreno in the 4th fight. 3rd round TKO, and Sandhagen was the 2nd round. I'll go 3rd round TKO Song Yadong in a firefight. If I'm Figgy, I recommend grappling. Highly advise it, but even then, I feel like Song Yadong, I've never really seen him outside of Jan getting takedowns. Never really seen him really on bottom for a long duration of a fight. I kind of don't mind the thought of Jan having better wrestling than Figgy. I don't mind that. Explosiveness, dynamic, takes chances, takes risks. Defensively, neither are great, but I just feel like Song could take one more than Figgy can. And Figgy, I don't mind the thought of Figgy hits harder than Song. I don't mind that, but I just feel like the frequency that Figgy's going to get hit with and the speed, it's going to be too much for him to take. So I'm going to go 3rd round TKO Song Yadong to become the first guy to actually really knock out Figgy, not by injury stoppage.
Yeah, I got Song here. Figgy's just an unk now, like a washed unk. His wins aren't even aging well either. Rob Font is not good anymore. Or, to be honest with you, we don't even know if he was even that good. It was probably just that the division's now evolving now. But that isn't an aged win anymore. Neither is Cody. And neither was another fight. He beat Cheeto as well, who's like a human punching bag. Like I think it's unfortunate Figgy didn't move up. I told Tony and Alex, I think that they just my whole theory on why Figgy waited so long to move up is probably because he took like so much money to do a that whole quadrilogy with Moreno because it's never been done before, and that fight was bringing in numbers. So I think they were just like, you know what, we'll let you go. We'll let you go up, but finish up this series with Moreno. Carry the division up with the fight, and then we'll pay you egregiously good money if you take this fight. Because at first Figgy wanted to go up, but he didn't want to due to money issues. But and that's why they did that infamous interim title fight with Moreno and Kai Kara. But it is what it is. I got Song. Unfortunately, I don't think Song's very good. He did do a lot better than I thought against O'Malley, but I think it's just O'Malley kind of like recovering from just the constant fucking drag of Merab Dvalishvili just humping him against the fence for 25 minutes, kneeing his thigh. Like I almost said something crazy about that, but I don't know. I just don't like. I just don't think Song's that good. But I think Figgy's washed. Unfortunately, I'm gonna go with the Song Yadong 2nd round TKO. Probably maybe a 1st round. We'll have to see. I think Figgy retires this fight.
Main event of the evening, UFC China. I feel like, as far as the main card fights are going, obviously they know a lot of people are watching that. I feel like they're giving the Chinese fighters kind of layups early in the, or not early, but in the main card rather than the prelims. I feel like the prelims Chinese fighters are, more in their 50-50 fights. But I feel like, Zhang Minyang and Song Yadong, they're really lined up to take a really easy win here. That being said, I don't think Song Yadong is that good. That has to be stated. If this was maybe even Figueiredo from when he beat Yan, I might pick Figueiredo. But the injuries, did you pick an injury TKO, Tony? Oh, for some reason I heard you say you're picking Song to like injure him or some shit. But that is a likelihood in this matchup. I don't mind something like that happening to Figueiredo. I think Figueiredo knows his time is, coming soon. That's why he came back from that knee injury so fast and fought Montel Jackson, which honestly, looking back on it, that's a guy fucking Figueiredo murders in 2 rounds, like in his prime, despite him being way bigger than him at bantamweight. I feel like, Song Yadong, he's got good takedown defense. That'll kind of, I feel like, shut down the takedowns from Figgy. I do feel like mixing in the grappling is Figgy's best chance of securing this victory. Of course, Figueiredo, historically known for having a bad gas tank, but I really think that is a part to do with the weight cut that he had to do at flyweight. I feel like cardio-wise, he went hard in 4 and 5 against Yan. What more could you ask? I think the later this fight goes will favor Figueiredo. And if we're looking at Song's career, he's the kind of guy that kind of fades in the 3rd round, fades in the later rounds. That's when certain guys that have more experience than him pick it up. He had a good performance against Corey Sandhagen when he was young, kind of lost due to cut stoppage. But honestly, I feel like he was kind of winning the rounds as they went on too. It's a tough fight. Song's learned more grappling as he's went on. I feel like this is going to be mostly on the feet. And if that's the case, Song is just going to be way bigger, way faster, and just a better boxer overall. I think Figueiredo's, despite, being a big flyweight, he's still undersized for bantamweight. And he's old, I feel like, at some point in your career, and this goes for any sports athlete, the ages depend. But when it comes to lighter divisions in the UFC, it's usually before 34. Figueiredo was kind of like one of these guys that was competitive at 34, competitive at 35, competitive at 36, and that's kind of when he's having the Moreno fights. But all of a sudden, you just fall off a cliff. And I think after that Sandhagen fight, which was only, 6 months after the on fight, injury happens, and then you're right back in against Smotherland and you look shit. Then I get you lose to Umar. Umar's good, but you have nothing for him. You have nothing whatsoever. You just get held down for 3 rounds. You get JDM Islam. Like JDM, he's a striker. Bro, you're a grappler. I remember you like latching up gillies on people. I remember you out scrambling a lot of people. And the only time you didn't it was because of the weight cut at flyweight. I think it's just withered Figgy. Song is not anything great. He's nothing special, but he's a guy that's been learning on the job since he got in the UFC. He's had a lot of UFC experience going up into this point. And, he had a close fight with Yan. He had a close fight with O'Malley, despite that being, potentially the worst version of both of those guys. O'Malley with no confidence coming off of the Merab loss, and fucking Yan with a blown out knee coming off a 3-fight losing streak. And he still loses those. So it's tough, but I just think, despite Song being a famous bag fumbler, somebody that doesn't really do that good into the 3rd round, usually loses the 2nd and 3rd round when he does lose decisions. Honestly, Henry Cejudo looked like he was starting to put the pace on him before that eye poke shit, and we saw how Henry Cejudo just got done. That was a big reason I fucking picked Henry Cejudo in that fight. I'm like, oh, he had moments outboxing Song. Figgy can do that. And it's starting to make me kind of rethink my pick, but I think it's just withered Figgy. I think it'll be a close fight. I think it'll be one of those that gets really close on the scorecards where you can sit here and argue that Figgy won 3, 4, and 5 or 2, 4, and 5 or something like that. But we're in China. And if this is a close fight, like I think it will be, with Song being the more efficient striker, doing more damage on the feet, looking faster with the hands, landing more, he's going to win the fight. Maybe even 4-1 on some scorecards. Figueiredo's withered. It's tough between TKO and decision, but I kind of just don't think Song's that great, so I think Figgy will make it to a decision and even make it close. I'm going to say Song Yadong 48-47. Arguable robbery. But yeah, that'll that will do it for the main event in the card, UFC Macau. I think that's everybody. Anything you want to say before we end it off? Yeah, we're waking up at 3 a.m.
Yeah. All right. We appreciate you guys for staying and watching the video. Make sure to go like and subscribe. And yeah, those are our UFC Macau predictions. Mike, for sure, you gave your pick on the main event, right? You good? Okay, cool. But yeah, if there's anything you guys like to add, feel free. Yeah. All good?
I think that'll be it. Yep.
Okay. Sounds good. Peace.